Good morning. Today is the 19th of March 2023 and I'm going to go over my trading plan and levels for today. Before we start, as always, let's look and see what news we've got. So we've had 8:30 building permits and we saw a little tiny bit of a green bar on that 8:30 candle, but we haven't got much more today. The big one is tomorrow, and tomorrow it is FOMC and the Fed rate interest decision rate. So the Fed interest rate decision, read it properly. So maybe tomorrow is going to be a bit of a muted day, but let's get down to the levels. On my screen is the ES. This is the daily chart, and kind of just looking at this trend line still. It's going back to 2023 October, and I've readjusted it recently. We were trading it up. You could equally put it along there, but I brought it down to match the latest pivot, and it's kind of been holding it as well. We held it coming in, held it on March the 11th, kind of then March the 14th, and then we finally broke through it. And we are showing signs of weakness. First signs of weakness is the higher volume. You can see increasing volume. Normally that's when there's buyers and sellers battling it out. Let's open up the pen. And so we've got increasing volume here. Normally get that at the end of a trend. We haven't seen a big volume bar, which has taken out all the others yet. But we are seeing it curving around as well. It's looking pretty tired. We were equally flicking between these tops and bottoms of this channel, and then we're kind of getting a bit toppy, and we didn't really touch. We're not really touching the top and bottom of this channel, so it's kind of looking like it's curving over, and it could just go sideways, waiting before it takes another move up. We don't know that, but we've got a reversal candle here, going back to Friday the 8th of March. And we've seen, since that reversal candle, we've had a few days where we've had up volume day, and then we've had a smaller volume day but on similar volume, so that's like an anomaly. We've got a hammer candle, another hammer candle's forming now, and it's just showing signs of weakness, and it's kind of hovering around in the bottom half of this channel as well. So kind of in this bottom half of the channel as well, which kind of means we may indicate weakness. So still in an uptrend. We need to really break probably that pivot there, or break down below the 50 before we can confirm a downtrend. So still want to treat it as an uptrend on the higher time frames. So let's go down to the hourly, and obviously don't forget, when we go to SPY and SPX in a minute, we've got that weekly trend line which goes back 24 years. So this is the hourly. Let's just zoom out. So we've got the same levels, just touching. You can see it's coming in recently. I've got all my supply and demand areas in as well. So what I'm really looking for today is I'm looking for a bounce. If we get back down to this area, we've got this point of control as well. This orange line is a point of control, and we've got an area. It's a decent area of confluence where bottoms of candles, bottom candles. We've got the top of candles there, tops of candles, bottoms here, kind of tops there. And you can't see it; it's behind this volume. Tops there as well. So kind of like this area for a bounce, and that's 51, I got it 69, but 51.70 bounce area. So that's what I'm looking for, bounce. If we get down to there, if we do break down through there, we've got this area of, well, this is an area of demand as well now. This area here is not marked up. That's kind of why I like the bottom area of that demand. But we are watching also 51.55, which is a significant area, bottom and tops of candles as well. So if we get into it, I'll be watching 51.55 for a bounce as well. So they're the two main areas I'm watching today: a bounce here and a bounce there. Taking in mind that we're still in a daily uptrend, if we do see a push up and it gets above the pre-market high, and we've got to reclaim this trend line again as well. So I'm looking for a breakout, a pullback into the trend line or pre-market high for a long. I'll also consider this entire area as a short area. We can watch yesterday's low through to the pre-market high. So around here to here, we could look for potential rejects, but that's higher risk and it's with confirmation as well. And we've got the pre-market low level, which is an area of confluence. You can see kind of coming into tops and bottoms of candles. It's not great, not one of my favourite. There's an area over here you can't quite see off under that profile. Kind of gives us an area where we could look for a potential bounce, pre-market low. But if we break through the pre-market low, we've got this big void below, and the next area will be down, you know, another $10 away. So we could look for a break and retest short or a bounce long. So there's a few levels, but the two levels I'm really watching is a rejection at 52.36, similar to levels we had yesterday. That's yesterday's high as well, so we had a big reaction when we came up to there last time. There's also an area of confluence where we've got tops of candles, bottoms of candles, area consolidation, it pulled back into that area. So if we can come all the way back up to this area, I'll be looking for a rejection. And I'll be watching the break and retest of the pre-market high for long as well. So if we can get above, but we've got to be above this trend line. Otherwise, I'm looking for a rejection off of that trend line, because we've kind of broken down, come through it. Ooh. Broken down through the trend line, push back up. After we've been honouring it, we've honoured it here, we've honoured it here, and then I'm looking for it to come back down and maybe push back up into that area for a rejection. That's kind of what I'm looking for, a rejection pre-market high. And hourly trend, we weren't able to put in a new high a few days ago, so we put in there's a lower high there, potential lower high here, and we just want to see what happens here. We could be setting up for a bit of a move down, but it's difficult. I'm just playing the local levels, and that's it. It's not amazing. We really want to see it break down below this pivot. Want to see it break down below that pivot, or break over this pivot to continue the trend up, or to change the trend on the hourly. But while we're in this chop area, it's going to be difficult because of obviously FOMC tomorrow. We're kind of just need to play these levels. Hence why I'm looking for a bounce up here, a rejection up here, or a bounce down here. You know, we're kind of putting in this channel. That's it really. Look at SPY. Let's just go to the weekly for a second and look at that. This is the 24-year trend line. We kind of poked through it. We're putting three. This is a weekly one, so we've had the first week was indecision, second week was a top in tower, so we could see that as a reversal candle, and look at that on high volume as well. So, and then also we're putting in this week's now, so see what happens. But I quite like this as a region of resistance. Even though it's a weekly, we can't use it as a line. It can be a region. It could be quite a big region. So we can potentially watch this area, see what happens. We could see the market just go sideways for a bit, maybe break up above it, back down, and then before it decides what to do, and then drops. That's what I think might happen. But who knows? It could just do the opposite. But I don't like using the word "that's what I think might happen." I'm just using, you know, end of a long trend. We've been a long time since we've been down here at the 200 moving average. We're far away from the 50. We're far away from the 20. So we are due a bit of a pullback, and that's kind of why I'm thinking it might happen. So let's do some levels on the hourly. And, you know, we could be looking at a head and shoulders pattern up here as well. So levels, I quite like the bounce down here, which is 50, 508, 509, 508.50. You can see it's a big level. We've got tops of candles, bottoms of candles, we've got bottoms of candles, bottoms of candles. So it's a big area, and I'm looking for a bounce off of that level there. As for rejects, yesterday's high, similar to we talked to in ES, looking for a potential reject off of there, and maybe a reject off the pre-market high through to yesterday's low, these two areas. So that's 513.50 and 515.20 for rejection. That's the only areas I'm watching really on SPY. But I'll be keeping an eye on SPX, and let's go to the weekly. You can see again on that trend line, we're right on it again, exactly the same as SPY, so far away from the 200, the 50 and the 20, so it's due a pullback, but it's just a matter of knowing when it's going to pull back. So here we've been watching 50-100 for some time now. It kind of proves there, so kind of watching a similar area. I got 50.96 as the area, but if we come down here I'll be looking for a bounce. Don't know where we've kind of gapped down a little bit today, so we'll probably open up closer to that, or probably in this region. But I also look for a bounce. Maybe the 200 moving average will come up and merge with that area. We'll watch for a bounce at the same time, so potentially we could watch for a bounce at 50.96 to 50.100. If we get down further, break down that level, then we've got a bounce. Then it will spike through the 200 moving average, but we've got a pivot here, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, so kind of this region. So I'm kind of looking for this region for a bounce as well at 50-50 potentially. So look, yeah, 50-50 for a bounce, and I'll do that on the ES if it comes down, and these areas should correspond to these areas of demand I've got, and all that pivot down here. Okay, so let's look at QQQ. So you can see this is curving over a little bit more. So we kind of pushed up, down, and if you're looking at a head and shoulders pattern, we got the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, the break. This here could be the break of the neckline, and then we come back up to retest. I know it's kind of not really a break and retest, it's kind of taking it through, but it's come back down again. So potentially we can look for a break and retest of the pre-market low today. I quite like that idea, and that will be along this area of confluence. We've got kind of bottoms of pivots. It's a big major hourly area, or we can look for a rejection into yesterday's low. We've got this volume profile, high volume node as well, coming in at 437.50. So kind of use that as a rejection there, 437.50. That's higher risk because we're close to it. But if not, if we get back up to 441, 442 area, maybe 441, kind of this entire area, then I quite like a rejection up here somewhere. And then bounce wise, we've got the, if we don't break through with confirmation, we look for the bounce at 432, 432.60. And then probably the next area will be down here. I'm going to get rid of that one. Technically it's an area, but we've kind of broken through it a few times, it's not valid anymore. So if we do break down through 432, this area here, and we've got this big void below, so we could look for potential short at 432. And then NQ, I don't think I looked at that. Exactly the same. You can see it's kind of curving over a bit. The 200 moving average is curving, starting to curve a little bit as well now. We broke the neckline, we broke through, came back up, retesting this area again, and we rejected it. So if we break down below 18,021 or 18,000, that for a round number, we can look for a break and retest of that level. So break and retest, a break and retest of that level there. Or we can look for a break and retest along with the pre-market high, which is 18,250. And then if we get above yesterday's high, which is 18,375, we can look for it would have broken this downward channel. So we want to break and retest of yesterday's high at 18,350 for 18,400. Let's quickly go through gold. It's in this channel still. We can watch for a breakout above this channel. You have to get above the 200 moving average, which is starting to curve around a bit. Pull back and then long. So pre-market high, is that yesterday's high? Whatever that level is there for a break and retest. Or we can watch this double bottom. We can either watch for a higher risk bounce off the pre-market low or break and retest off pre-market low to continue the trend down. Because you can see we're in a downtrend, putting in lower high, lower high, lower low, lower high. We'll see where we get to now. Oil. There's only a couple levels I like. I like the bounce down here at $80. Higher risk, yesterday's low at $81. And we've got a rejection at 82.75, so 83 area. And that probably is a daily level. Yeah, so kind of. This area here. Okay, so it's probably, let's just put in that supply zone. So that area we can watch for rejection. You can see we've got lots of touches of that level. Tops of candles, bottoms, 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 tops here. And it's an area of supply. We haven't been back there since then. So we can kind of, oh, that's the $84. What's the one below? 82.76. Which is this level here. And again, we can put a, just, so we've got our own kind of a big zone. Kind of this area here. So go back. We're kind of right in that area of supply right now. But I quite like 82.50, high risk rejection. And if we break through, we've got a target of 84.90. So that's it. All we've got bounce areas down at 80 and 77.50. We've got RTY next. Kind of putting in. Still don't like the area. Still don't, I'm not a big fan of this chart. But we are in a bit of an hourly downtrend. And we're right at a. Let's just try and find an area of confidence. Now I still quite like this area down here, 2008 for a bounce. Is there anything closer? The only closest one could be this area, bottoms, tops, tops, bottoms. It's been kind of poked through it, came back out, bottoms again here. So we could watch 2025 for a bounce as well. And then a reject, probably if we get back up to, I'm going to make a slight change. We put in a pivot there, so that must be where people are watching. The bottom of that, those candles, tops over here, so kind of watching 2076, 2084, another rejection or double top up that area. And then YM, need it to break out of this channel, so if it breaks below 3900, we can watch it for a break and retest low. Bear in mind we've got a few pivots down there. And the same if we get over this pivot, 39,400, we need a break above it. We could probably bring the levels in a bit more. Let's just add one more. That's based on yesterday's high. And you see it, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, bottoms of candles, tops, tops, tops. And that is 39,337 for break and retest. Okay, Bitcoin is looking weak at the moment. It's back to base, will be the 50 or the 200. My outs are looking pretty sweet now, though. Those red lines, that's why I took partial profits. So, kind of glad I did. And those profits from up here will be put back in when I get down to here and down to here. These are the levels I'm waiting for. And again, I took profits out based only on the volume coming in. You see all this low volume. And then we had all this volume come in, so it looks like it's come to an end of a trend. I don't really want to hold it, but you know, I've got a little tiny bit left in case it does break through. That's a previous all-time high. That's what I got out. So I kind of planned my outs really. There's nothing I can say until it gets down to 60,000. Probably this area here for a bounce, 50,000 or 40,000. Potentially 58,900. That's only because there's a little air of confidence over here as well. So we can watch for a bounce down at this area. And that's it. Let's just quickly look at ES to see what's happened over the last few minutes. Kind of coming up into this area, a potential rejection area. So watching, still watch, nothing's changed my plan. Still watching yesterday low for a rejection and watching bounces down here. So 51.55, 51.74 bounces. potential rejection of the pre-market high, or it's a break and retest long. And then we've got yesterday's high rejection. That's it. So today I'm going to let my levels come to me, and did that yesterday. Yesterday I took a decent 2 trades, 2 winning trades, and I want to do the same thing today. You know, we're right in between levels now, so there's nothing really to play. Could you play the break and retest off this pre-market area here? Maybe, but it's pre-market volume, so I wouldn't bother. That's it. Next up will be the live order flow stream, so if you want to watch the actual volume come into the market using X-ray vision, then that's a pretty decent way to see it. All my trades are now based on order flow and confirmation with order flow, only because it lets me get in at tighter places and lets me get out at tighter places, and means I don't have to put massive stops, so I can tighten my stops, so I'm playing less risk. And also, like my trades yesterday, I saw the order flow coming in. I saw it was starting to absorb at one of my low levels, I think down here it was, and that was a sign for me to get out, and it did. I got out and it reversed. So I can't remember where it was. That was yesterday, around about here at 52.10. So decent way of trading. But anyway, I'm going to close the stream, and the next stream will be up in a few seconds. Okay, thank you for watching.